This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Raise a glass for Ron White's return to the island. From hilarious childhood stories to witty tales about life, now you'll laugh along to it all when he takes the stage at Treasure Island on April 19th and 20th. Tickets are still available. You get yours at TICasino.com.
That sounds like a heck of a concert. I might want to show up with some friends.
Yes, the legendary Mark Rosen joins Tennessee in common now on a Masters Thursday. And, I had a little sidebar story I used to kind of pad the last minute or two to get to the break. And about how they have a phone bank at Augusta National Golf Course where you can make a phone call because much like the Bob Dylan concert, you can't bring your phone in. And the story by Steve Reed reads as follows. Attending the Masters for the first time was a new experience for Thomas Abraham, and it wasn't just about the golf. The 16-year-old from Houston had the rare opportunity to use a public telephone for the first time. He was at the par 3 Masters competition. He said, it was kind of cool. I've never used one before. I figured it out. If I had to use one of those rotary phones, I probably would have had to ask my dad.
Oh, there's no question. I've seen stories done on that. They've handed a rotary phone to kids, and they have no idea what they're looking at. Might as well be looking at a prehistoric dinosaur or something or other.
That's exactly right. But
that's interesting. It's funny. No phones. You don't see anybody.
Never had an opportunity to use a phone at a phone bank before. Only just the cell phone. That's all he used his entire life. A lot of different stories at Augusta National Golf Course. Maybe Tennessee, could you drop the leaderboard again so we can get Mark Rosen's thoughts on what's going on? But I think of all the stories, Aaron, this isn't the lead story, but one of them is Fred Couples made an eagle today. He is 1 under for the tournament. I've had my eye on Fred Couples for a while now.
65 years.
Well, I've had my eye on him for.
How about that? And he's still
45
to me
years.
the best swing in golf. I love watching him swing a golf club.
Do you really?
Yeah, I have for years. I mean, he's the purest golf swing.
What do you like better, watching his golf swing or watching DeChambeau chase his into the trees? Which do you like better?
That's a toss-up. DeChambeau's playing pretty well today, though, too. He's 2 under right now.
I have a Fred Couples story that I'm a part of. I'm really not, but I made myself a part of it. Back when the U.S. Open was here in 1991, I'd got media credentials through the Forest Lake radio station, and a buddy of mine and I went, and I said, let's put this, how long it was, I go, let's put in the VCR tape, put it on slow record, 6 hours, and I'm going to try to get on TV.
Okay.
That was my goal. I don't know, as a rube, right?
Sure,
I was as big. The people I ripped now, I used to be one of those guys. And so we went there and we traipsed all over the golf course for 2-3 hours, blah, blah, blah. We're nothing. Couldn't get on TV, enjoying it, watching it. Decided to just sit down for a while. And now number 10 at Hazeltine National Golf Course, for people that aren't aware of the hole, it's a dogleg par 4. It's a 90-degree dogleg left.
Steep dogleg left.
And it drops down to the green down at the bottom.
By the lake, yeah.
So we're sitting on the dogleg part, the part that goes downhill toward the hole. We're sitting outside the ropes, and just sitting on the sideline. All of a sudden, we see a big commotion up at the top of the hill. Somebody has hit their ball through the fairway and into the bushes. Now, those bushes are cleared out now. This was back in 91. So I realize someone's hit their ball up there. So I tell my buddy, let's go. I jump up and run up there as fast as I can. There's a ball. So when you see it on TV, when there's a ball over the rough, people scramble around and get around because they want to be right next to it. So I'm right there. Sure enough, it's Fred Couples.
Oh boy.
He has hit his ball through the fairway. So now he comes up there and he's surveying the situation. He's under the bush, okay? Ooh. So he's looking at it for a long time, and they keep coming back to it because I see the red light and the camera come back. It's like, and I'm sure up in the booth they're going, let's go back to 10 and see what Freddie Couples' predicament is. So I'm on TV for like 10 minutes. I'm right there because I have the tape. And it's like, and I'm telling the guy next to me that I don't know. I go, we're on TV right now. That red light's going, really? Yeah. I go, yeah. So Fred gets down on one knee finally and hits the ball out, and he hits it. So then, of course, I start clapping right away and charging toward the camera because I was a rube. That's my Fred Couples story, which isn't really a great story, but I accomplished my goal, and that was to get on TV.
Yeah.
And, of course, they can't keep you off TV.
No,
think about that.
Try.
50 years you were on TV, and now you're still there doing the Vikings game day.
Correct. Thank you.
Boy, what a great life you've led. Well, you have. You really have. It's been a hell of a life.
It's been fun.
Yeah, it has been fun.
Yeah.
Where are we tend to be right now with the leaderboard at Augusta
Your
National?
leader is Justin Rose.
How about that?
He is 6 under through 10.
6 under?
Just birdied 10, so now he's 6 under through 10. He has a two-stroke.
10? One of the hardest birdie holes on the golf course.
He has a 2-stroke lead on Corey Connors, Scotty Scheffler, and Terrell Hatton. Those 3 are at 4 under. Connors is in the clubhouse. Scheffler is through 16. Terrell Hatton through 15. And then it's another 2 strokes back to Aaron Rye, Harris English, Jason Day, Denny McCarthy, and Bryson DeChambeau. They're all at 2 under. Then you got a bunch at 1 under, some notable names there. Cameron Smith, Fred Couples, Brian Harmon, Patrick Reed, Colin Morikawa, Minwoo Lee, Max Homa, and Rory McIlroy.
Now, let me ask you a question. Do you know for sure that Corey Connors is in the clubhouse? Could he have left in his courtesy card? He's back at his hotel room, or do you think, or his rented house, probably hotel room? Who am I kidding? Or do you think he's in the clubhouse? Ed Tenby said he's in the clubhouse. Maybe you don't. Maybe saw him there.
Might be on his way home.
He could be on his way home.
Back to one of those houses.
Or, you know where else he's at? He's at the range hitting balls. That's what they all do.
It seems like
Wasn't good enough. I'm 2 shots out of the lead, but I got to go work on my game some more. Anything surprise you there at all? I mean, for me, not really. I don't.
You know what's I watched a lot of it online this morning, and when Scotty Scheffler teed off, and he's 4 under right now through 16, and he'll be the man. Is so maddeningly consistent. I don't think I've ever seen him have to really scramble. I mean, I was watching, a guy I picked in the power trip, Morikawa, and he was the first 9. He was scrambling everywhere, but he managed to stay at par. And then he eagled, I think 13 or something, went 3 under par. Yeah. Then he bogeyed, so he's 1 under. I mean, he's still theoretically in it. He's not. Of course he is. Yeah, but it's too bad he had. Yeah. But
he hit it into a greenside bunker just now.
Oh, did he?
On 18.
Oh boy!
And what's interesting about Morikawa, he was in his news conference yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that.
And there are. Then did you hear what he said about ball flight?
No, I heard him talking about why he didn't talk to the media or something. There was a controversy, if you want to call it that. Yeah. No, I did not hear about the ball flight
because. One of the things that they say, if you are to be successful at Augusta National Golf Course, is you have to be able to work the ball. You got to be able to fade it. You got to be able to draw it. You got to be able to hit it low sometimes. And you got to be able to work the ball. And they asked Morikawa about it, and he dismissed that. He said, nope, I hit it straight or with a little bit of a fade. He goes, I hit 1 draw tournament. Almost being defiant, almost like you guys don't know what you're talking about. And while, obviously he's had success there, was he second or third not long, or was that last year even? But I feel like last year, matter of fact, last year I think he finished in the top 5. But if you watch, they were showing highlights of his round. Chambly was addressing this yesterday on live from. 9 was a prime example. There were others, but 9 was a prime example. He was playing with, I don't remember who was in the group with him. But whoever was in the group with him hit a draw off the tee and hit it perfectly because that calls for a draw on that hole. I mean, if you can hit one. He hits a perfect draw around the corner. Morikawa hits his fade, and of course he fades it too much. It goes in the pine straw. He ends up putting it into the bunker. He makes a bogey while the other guy makes par. So it's like, you can. You don't have to hit draws, but certain holes call for certain shots, and you should be able to do that, especially like number 11. And we saw Morikawa rinse the ball last year, as did Oberg, where that ball, that's one of the most difficult, that's probably the most difficult hole on the golf course because you've got, it's a par 4 that's, I think, over 500 yards now. And everything calls for, it's just the ball wants to go left. And both Morikawa last year and Oberg, playing in the same group, hit it into the water. And that basically spelled the end for them, was hitting into the water. And that's because Morikawa wasn't trying to draw it there. He was trying to hit a cut over the water, and he kind of double-crossed himself and hit it in the water. So being a little defiant there, that's not to say he can't win, but you do wonder when, for at least throughout the history of the tournament, it has basically been most people would tell you need to hit if you can win without it, but it's better if you can hit draws and fades on command.
Well, and that gets back to my observation just about Scheffler. Obviously, we've watched him, play X number of tournaments and win. He doesn't win every single time he goes out.
Seems like he does,
but it feels like watching him compared to any other golfer who has to think DeChambeau or whomever, even Rory and the best of the best. They end up put themselves in position, you kind of go, man, how are they going to get out of it? And they're very good at it. But Scheffler, it seems like he's always in the fairway. He's always in a position, even if he hits it in the bunker, he's under control. He never seems to be flustered about anything. And I don't.
Well,
I just don't see anybody beating him.
I'll second guess you on the never being flustered. This year was the first year. If you've watched any of the tournaments early, and I've watched almost all of them, I'm
talking about the majors, I guess.
He's lost his temper more than he ever has. He never did. He did this year. That's what I'm trying to tell you, is that this year he wasn't calm, cool, and collected like he normally is, unflappable. He smacked his bag once and knocked it over. There was another shot. He was incredulous, telling to his caddy and really loud going, "Tell me how that happened. How does that happen?" And he was never like that in the past. His whole demeanor was very just kind of shrug your shoulders and kind of accept it. And that doesn't mean that he's gone berserk and can't stay cool, calm, and collected. But these players that play at that level, it's almost like, well, you see it all the time with like your Spieth and your Justin Thomases. They might hit a shot that's 4 yards offline where they wanted to hit it, and they're acting like they sculled it over the green. You know, so but you get to be, when you get to that level and you're used to hitting your shots so precisely, it can get you. It can get you flustered.
It should be for a fun weekend, as always. The best of the best, and when you have a day like today when 65-year-old Fred Couples shoots 71 and did what he did today. And, what other sport can you say that in?
When Gordie Howe played hockey, he could do that occasionally.
Well, he was 50-something.
We'll take a break. We'll come back with more here on the Common Man program on the Fan.
Fan.
Day here at the Fan, and it's just after 2:15, so that means it's time for Peek at the Pros, brought to you by our friends at the Minnesota Golf Association. Mark your calendars. June 7th is Golf Day in Minnesota. Get out and play. Join today at mngolf.org. Tee to Green will broadcast live from the Classic at Madden's on June 7th. For Tee to Green and for Minnesota Golf Day. It'll be a great time to be had by one and all. And if you join the MGA today, you can establish a handicap index, a free subscription to Minnesota Golfer magazine is included, and more. mngolf.org. Join today. 10 to be Peek at the Pros. It's still Justin Rose with a 2-shot lead right now through 10 holes at Augusta National Golf Course, and a whole host of golfers sitting at 4 under, including two-time champion and defending champion Scotty Scheffler. What else do you have there on the leader? I know we just looked at it, but
let me give it the old refresh.
Sure.
Yes, Justin Rose still 6 under. Corey Connors, Scotty Scheffler, Terrell Hatton, they're all at 4 under. Let me maybe go down. I know you talked about Rory McIlroy sometimes getting off to slow starts.
Yeah,
he's
at
1
Augusta.
under.
He's 1 under through 7, so he's still in the mix as we speak. Ludwig Oberg is even through 7. Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth are both 1 over through 16. And then Tom Hoagie, he's 1 over through 12.
Did he get a hole in 1 today?
No.
I thought he did.
I think that was, maybe he did.
Maybe I was looking at an old,
could have
sometimes
been.
they show.
He may have. I just not have heard about it. I thought he had one. Maybe it was in the par 3.
He did not get a hole in 1 today.
Okay. I was looking at video without the audio.
He did double bogey 7.
Okay. That's totally opposite of that.
A tournament maybe not getting as much attention. There's another tournament out there that's not getting as much attention, and that is the iHeartMedia Miniature Golf Masters tournament today. Do we know who won? Because they're cleaning up the course now.
Yeah.
Ben was the defending champ, and I said I'm picking Jeff Lamont. And he said, well, I won last year. That's what Ben said. I got a green jacket. I said, oh, okay, good for you. I'm still going with Lamont. So I said to Lamont, I picked you today. And I said, Ben won last year. I told him, he goes, I didn't play last year. So Lamont he had won a green jacket
he's
before.
Competitive.
Didn't play last year.
Uh-huh.
And so Ben won, and I don't want to say by default, because if you're not there, you're not there. But
it's like winning on the PGA Tour. The live golfers aren't out there.
That's
so it's really not.
right.
Yeah.
It's like playing with a weaker field. So I don't know who won. The one thing I will say is I'm very disappointed in the KFAN air staff. Once again, Emily put together a great day, the tournament. Mm-hmm. She had it catered by McDonald's and such, and I saw her bringing a lot of leftovers. Got a lot of leftovers. Why is that? She says, well, a lot of people didn't show up. And
You've got to be kidding me.
Well, nobody from the air staff. Now, Tenneby and I would have.
Yes.
But we're on the air. We can't.
Right.
Tenneby would love. We always participate in station events, and particularly something that is golf-related. Nobody from the morning show, nobody from the midday show, nobody from the late afternoon show even showed up.
You've got to be kidding me.
How about an all for one, one for all? Do a little bonding with your coworkers. It's really sad and disappointing.
Sad, really.
Yeah, it is. It just is. And
Emily works her butt off too. She's great.
Boy, those people all got a lot going on. They work 3 hours a day. It's like you could have come back, spent an hour and a half here, an hour, and played. Salespeople like seeing you.
Right.
They do.
It helps.
They like to bond. They like to see
I
the.
understand that.
Yet, nope. Nobody there. It's really sad, is what it is. And I think they all owe Emily and all the salespeople an apology. That's what they should do. Agreed?
That won't happen.
100%.
100%.
Yeah, I went to one of those last.
Did you participate in the Masters putting?
I didn't even know about it.
Oh, of course you didn't.
I didn't. Honestly, didn't.
So you never checked your email.
I don't have an email anymore.
You didn't see all the signs posted.
I saw the sign. I've played before, but I.
Tenneby, hit the excuse computer thing.
No, I was at the last event we did, with you and Potato. We were at an event that no other air staff people were at.
Well, that was 2 years ago, so it was a long time
2 years ago already?
2 years ago,
oh my God.
It just happened to be a block from where you live, so that did hurt.
A couple blocks.
That's like,
oh, man.
I don't want to get into that.
Don't get into that.
Well, I want to, but I've already done the cheap shot before, so
constantly.
How about your Wild Club? Now, that's a team that decided we're not going to take it anymore. We get our two stars back, and we're brilliant.
They were brilliant, but they were also scary because you give up a 3-goal lead late. And
so you got Flower playing, why is Flower playing?
Well, I think it was more of a sentimental farewell in his last home game.
Here's what I'll tell you.
I think that's why he was playing last night.
Leave sentiments for later.
Well,
let's wait for the season to over. We're trying to get to the playoffs here.
Yeah, we're talking about the Cup because it's the Cup,
and I love Flower. I do.
But I mean, that was the disconcerting part of the game is that gave up the lead and against the worst team in hockey, and they had a scramble. But just seeing Joel Eriksson-Ek and of course Kaprizov back and what they did in Bolte, obviously, but he's been around. But having those two guys back just elevates this team to a different level. I mean, they just do. So it does bode well. Get Gus Bus back in goal, and God bless Mark Fleury. He's going to the Hall of Fame.
You like this club, don't you?
I don't know. I mean, I think they give them a fighting chance when they get all hands on deck. I was just asking Tenna before I walked in here about their star draft pick, who's turned into a star from Denver. From DU. What's the kid's name again?
Booyam.
Yeah, they're playing this afternoon, and they're underdogs, I think, in the Frozen Four. If they were to lose that game today, do the Wild sign him, bring him up here potentially? He's an offensive defenseman, right?
I will tell you.
He can do both, but yes, he's a very good offensive defenseman.
I will tell you that I had my eye on Z. Boyum.
Have you more than even I did an Alex Tuck?
Absolutely. Where did Boyum play his college again?
Well, he's at Denver right now.
He's
playing in the Frozen Four tonight.
And I've got what's Denver's nickname?
The Pioneers.
I have the Denver Pioneer Television Network on my package, and I watch them a lot. Yeah, just like you would watch all those Boston College games. Much like you spend all those nights watching UCLA games. And so you realize the kid...
Jane Clark. Well, he blew out his knee, but that's a whole other thing.
That's still one of my favorites.
I know.
You were watching all those UCLA games?
But I don't know. I mean, the roster's pretty full right now. And this kid has, I think, exceeded expectations from that level, and he certainly does have a star quality about him. But nevertheless... the Wild did help themselves a lot last night.
Well, any questions about whether they would have some, would it be rest or rust? I'm not we don't. I mean, it looks like they just needed rest. They're fine now. Some of that may have been just adrenaline too, and playing a bad team. I'm not trying to take anything.
No, I know.
I've got him in the Western Conference playoffs. I asked him if he'd please put together a montage. Yeah, that's how excited I am about this Wild Club.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, but let's see what happens next game. But certainly it provided a spark, and without the two of them, they lose. So
I think we've seen the history of Stanley Cup playoffs that it's we've seen 8th seeded teams go in and win the cup. So I mean, a lot of weird things can happen, and they're still shy a little bit in kind of the heavyweight department.
Right.
Although Foligno's back, and as far as playing physical teams, but getting those two guys back mean everything. They had zero chance. I mean, you never have zero chance, but without Kaprizov and Eriksson Ek, they're not going to compete against any of those teams that they would have faced. And now they have themselves a chance, and could be an exciting springtime here with the Wild, and hopefully the Wolves doing something. Although after the other night, I don't know what to think. Tonight's the game, of course, in Memphis means everything. If the Wolves go 3-0, they get the 6th spot, and at least the 6th spot, and they won't have to be in the play-in game. And that means tonight's game means everything. I mean, if they were to lose to either Brooklyn or Utah at home and they're just tanking, well, shame on them 100 times over. They already lost to one of those teams at home. So, but given what's at stake and where they are, I mean, we saw last night your Golden State team lost
Stunning.
It was. So, I mean, weird things do happen.
Did
but
they lose last night?
San Antonio. Buzzer beater.
San
No,
Antonio.
they didn't lose
Yes, they did. That's what opened the door. And that
Harrison Barnes, didn't he used to play for the Warriors?
Yes.
Yeah, he
sure did. He's been around a long time.
You know, we call that revenge. He invented the word vendetta. This text message says, Tenneby, you'll be pleased to hear this. I want to tell you about this kid, Tenneby. Did you hear the montage at noon? He's a prodigy. I've had my eye on him for a long time. So one of the listeners has been knew you had it in you. They've been keeping an eye on you, and now they know that you've arrived. Welcome back to the Spotlight.
I always love that one.
We'll take a break, come back. We have one more segment to go here on the Common Man program on the Fan. All night to get lucky.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, of course it was. They stole the whole idea.
Up all night to the sun.
I'm up all night to get lucky. I'm up all night to get lucky. Speaking of getting lucky, I don't know why I said that. I thought that I'd be able to tie it in.
No segue?
No segue. I will say this is interesting. This is from Shane in Shakopee, and I think it has to do with when you were talking about the Wild. It says, listen to this. It says, Helvy's take sounds interesting in Mark's voice.
What is he talking about?
You heard Helvy this morning give his Wild take, and then you've decided that you liked it, so then you gave. That's what
I haven't heard the Power Trip in a long time. I was here yesterday.
On the show yesterday.
I know. That's the last time I heard it. I didn't listen to the show this morning.
Well, I know that's what.
Okay, just fill in the blank. Helvy, Lieber.
It's just one of my
I haven't had my own opinion. That's why I'm in the Hall of Fame over there.
And I just love the way he phrased it, though, because no one's ever said it this way. I just love.
His take
sounds interesting. Mark's
Who's Helvy?
I always love that one.
It's just.
I don't even know what I said. That was a take. What did I say that he claims I said that Helvy apparently said?
Can we get Rosie to sing a little ACDC to get everyone excited for tonight's concert?
Whole lot of Rosie.
What other songs will they play?
Back in Black, Thunderstruck, Hell's Bells.
Wow. You know those.
Well, I mean, come on. I was looking up their, this is their first stop on an international tour. We're talking about Fred Couples at 65, playing a beautiful round.
He'd be the youngest member of ACDC if he was
he would be by far. The Angus Young is, I think, about to turn 70 or is 70.
He ain't young anymore.
And I think he's the youngest guy in the band. I don't know. I mean, generational. And again, I saw Dylan last Friday night in Mankato, 83. You go around Led Zeppelin, no matter who it is, the Grateful, these guys are, still
Well, Led
doing
Zeppelin
it.
doesn't play anymore.
No, they don't. But I mean, I just using examples. Jagger's still singing.
Yeah, they're still they're still touring.
And I just find it, we all saw these a lot of these groups and bands and individual singers in the 70s, and now they're in their 70s, and they're still selling out arenas. Now they're at U.S. Bank tonight, and I saw their tour stops. They're playing all the big stadiums.
How excited are you for tonight's concert? Be honest. You'd rather not go. Just say you're doing it for your wife. Just say it.
I'm kind of doing it for my wife.
Yeah, because you wouldn't go if I was on your own.
No,
you wouldn't be.
I would not be going on my own, or nor would I be going if I was not sitting where I was sitting tonight.
You're in a suite.
Yeah. Well, she's a big shot.
Don't you want to be down in the mosh pit?
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not.
I was in the mosh pit last week with Dylan, and people stood up in front of me to hear a guy croaking over, his piano playing.
JT
and then there wasn't playing. It's not the kind of music you stand up and listen to. It's Bob Dylan.
JT goes birdie, bogey, birdie to finish, and that's coming off a 6 on 13, which is not good. So he finished that +1 for the day.
JT.
So he's hanging around there a little bit. Your Minnesota Twins last night win 4-0. A brilliant performance by your favorite Twins pitcher.
Yes, he is my favorite Twins pitcher.
Joe Ryan.
He's the best pitcher, best starter on the staff. 7
innings, 2 hits, no runs, struck out 4. He was in complete control of the game last night. The bad news coming out of yesterday, or maybe it was today when the news broke, that Lopez will be on the injured list, will miss at least a couple of starts. And, those are your 2 best pitchers on the club, obviously, Lopez and Ryan, start in and start out.
Right.
And, and then you're already without Royce Lewis. So 2 of your better players are, we haven't seen Lewis at all this year. I'm not sure when he's coming back. And now with Lopez, and that's just minimum, a couple of starts. I mean, it might be one of those things where we talked about it yesterday. Those hammies can be nagging, they can be tricky to get under control. And who knows, it might be 3 weeks or, 3 starts, 4 starts, 5 starts. We don't know. But, nonetheless, it was a really good start for Ryan. They're playing Getaway Day today. Did you say it's 1-1?
No, it's 2-1 Twins right now.
Okay.
Bottom of the 6th, and Bailey Ober with his so far I think best start of the year. He's pitched. He's still in the game, and they always look for there's no walks and 4 strikeouts, but they're up 2-1. Runs come at a premium, and for this Twins team normally they've had a rare exception when they've had an explosion or 2, but that's it. So if they can find a way of piecing this thing together and closing out the series, at least they'll win a series on the road. That's not I was in Abbott's office before I came in here like we normally do. We know how bad the White Sox, historically bad last year. I mean, how would you like to be a part of their marketing team or be in their ticket office? Or they're losing again today, 6-1.
I'd like to try to be selling advertising for the Common Man program.
They're 2-9 already, and they're going to be They're 2-10 after today.
Thank you.
2-10.
Actually, we're number 1 in our time.
I know you are.
Thank you.
And they're not going to have any signs of being better. They're crosstown rivals. The Cubs always sell out, and they have a team that's going to be probably competing for the top spot. And it's just dreadful that they have no future there as far as their baseball team goes. And fortunately for the Twins, they get to play them a whole bunch more, or anybody that plays them. So, but that's just they haven't made any that I can see any improvement on a really disastrous franchise right now.
Speaking of the Wrigley and the Cubs, Deuce went to his first ever game at Wrigley Field.
Did he?
Weekend. Yeah, a bunch of the kids from Nebraska did some kind of a senior fun trip or something like that. They went to Chicago, and he went to see a game. He said it was cold. It wasn't more than 40 degrees, but he said it was great. Cubbies won. He'd never been to Wrigley, and then I texted him. It's funny. He went there in 2025. I went there in 1967. I was there when I was 8 years old. I went with it was so much fun when because at that time, baseball was my favorite sport.
Right.
I was 8 years old. I'm there with my cousins, Brian and Brucey, and my brother, my big brother Al, and my dad, and then their dad, Bruno. And I'll never forget, we were over there in that left field foul territory kind of area. And I'd never seen this before. It happens all the time now. But Kurt Flood and Lou Brock were out in left field.
Oh, man.
And the fans were throwing baseballs down. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, they'd throw a Sharpie down there with it or a pen or whatever, and they would sign it and throw it back up to the guy like that. So they were signing autographs. But, I'd never been to Wrigley before. And that's the only time I've ever been there. And I'm not going to suggest that I remember it like it was yesterday. But There is something about that stadium when you walk in, you see the ivy on the wall, and back then there were no lights. They've obviously. How long ago was they installed lights? 15 years ago, 20,
Probably,
whatever it was.
Yeah, you lose track of time.
Because it used to be only day games at Wrigley Field.
And obviously the neighborhood has changed a lot over on Addison Avenue over there, and take the L up there. It's phenomenal to take.
That could be the call I've been waiting.
1988.
88 they did.
That could be a call. That could change my life. I know that someday I'm going to get a call.
This is the appropriate time to actually be able to hear that.
I don't know who it's from, but I just know it's going to change my life. It's going to happen there someday in my life.
Yeah, it's still special, even though the neighborhood has been built up in Wrigleyville. I mean, it's still a great neighborhood place to go, and it's obvious again compared to what happens on the south side right now with the White Sox. Oh my, I can't even imagine. Just dreadful.
Yeah, it's not good.
No. Well, is that phone going to keep... Who's calling you?
Well,
you're on the air.
The first one was one of those calls where you don't know where it's from.
Oh,
and now
right.
this is some joker on the staff of the fan thinks it's funny to call my phone.
You can't put it on.
No, because then I might miss the call. What if that was the call?
But you never answer the call. You never answer the phone.
That wasn't the call. But what
number
if I
are you
see
waiting
that it's 651. Let's say that for sure.
God, if it's that important, they'll call you back after the show.
It's a 651 from St. Paul.
Okay.
Might be 651 something 1500.
Maybe it's Larry Mondello guy.
Oh no, not that. Anything but that.
Didn't you get that bit? Did you follow that?
I did. I heard it.
Now who's calling?
Oh my God! It's a bit now.
And now do we have to take this segment out?
Yeah, I was going to say.
We do.
Can't have that on the podcast.
It just never stops around this place. Can't we just take anything serious at all? We're trying to do a show.
This place
put a lot of prep work
worthy of
into it. I'm just trying to get to
a book.
3:00. I have no idea. I wrote a book already.
Yeah, I did too. Congratulations. I know you're still selling yours. Okay, come on. This is ridiculous. Just turn the damn phone off.
I can't. That was the call I've been waiting my whole life.
No. You're like the guy in the movie theater who doesn't turn his phone off, and it's like
I'm not turning
annoying.
it off when I'm at work. I'm just not.
Well, it's ridiculous. You're on the air.
We have to turn it off.
I'm not turning it off, and I'm not muting it.
You can have it on vibrate.
Yeah,
I don't want it on vibrate either. I want it the way it is right now.
All right, so just annoy the rest of us.
I have it on vibrate all the time. I never have the ringer on.
You do what you want with your phone. You do it with your phone. I'll do what I want with mine. I like it to ring. I like hearing the music. It's soothing. Don't you have a ringtone? Do you have a special ringtone on your?
No, I don't.
Well, then what's wrong with you?
I don't know. Lots.
It's okay. It's okay if you like having the ringer, but it's not all about you right now. There's listeners.
Why don't you have like New York, New York?
I should.
It's your favorite. Well, why don't you have Chicago, what toddling town?
Say listen to it when I want to listen to it.
And then Tennessee, why don't you have what's the Wild song? How does it go?
In the state of hockey.
That's what your ringtone should be. In the state of hockey.
Yeah.
Your Wolves Club has a critical game tonight.
Yes, they do.
They are in the Music City of Memphis.
Right.
On Beale Street to take on the Memphis Grizzlies.
Late start tonight.
Late start. I guess it'll be the feature game on TNT.
Correct.
Chuck, Shaq, Ernie, and Kenny the Jet will probably be discussing the game.
8:45 probably.
There's nothing that I've seen this year up to this point that leads me to believe the Wolves will win tonight. My prediction is they will lose tonight.
Well, that's understandable, and that's why they have just as good a chance. That's why they're still. Why are they favored tonight? Tell me. Explain that to me. Given the fact they just had this colossal
over
collapse.
The past month, they've been better than the Memphis Grizzlies.
I know, but past performance normally says, okay, wait, the Wolves just blew a 4-point lead in the fourth quarter, playing a Memphis team that's at home.
That was embarrassing.
Yet the Wolves, of course, was embarrassing. But that's the thing, the unpredictability. Royce called me, and we were talking to him. I think he must be doing a column on the team. And it's like we've seen it all with this team. When you least expect to have a good performance, they have one.
Tonight, so you're expecting a good one?
Yes, I am. I'm not guaranteeing a win. I'm just saying.
You just said, why are they favored tonight?
Well, I don't yeah.
And now you're predicting them to win. That doesn't make sense.
I said, wait a minute. Do you even listen when
We did listen. Yeah, you said
I expect a really good performance from them tonight. That doesn't mean they're going to win. They could lose by 2. I'm not saying they're going to. I'm not predicting guaranteeing a win. I didn't say that. I said I think they will play at a really high level tonight because of the meaning of the game, and I expect them to play at a really high level. But no, it's a confounding team, but it's a confounding conference right now. I mean, 2 teams, including Memphis, have fired their head coaches in the last 2 weeks, even though they're playoff teams already locked in and locked in.
They have higher expectations.
No, I think
they think they're underachieving.
Well, I think there's a lot more inside stuff going on with that, especially with Denver.
Maybe after that night, the 24-point, maybe we should have changed coaches.
Well, I know a lot of people on social media, shocking, were suggesting that.
You don't think we should?
Fire the coach.
Well, what do you think?
No, I think that they have to do a much better job of...
Isn't that up to the coach? He's blamed himself. He said it was his fault.
Well, he takes some of the blame, as he should.
All of it.
My big problem with Chris Finch right now, and I've seen it even when they've won games, is for whatever reason, when they diagram and talk about last second plays, out of bounds plays, it all goes haywire. And either Anthony Edwards has to make an impossible shot, or they miss it, or whatever the case, or Russell Westbrook falls Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and they win the game and force the head coach to get fired. I don't know why they can never diagram a play and actually execute it out of bounds on him in the half court. And when the game is on the line, it just doesn't happen. And maybe you give some credit to the defense, but yeah, they just don't seem to be able to have a method to so that's to me, that you can trace that back to the coach. But no, I don't think the firing of the coach is going to solve a whole heck of a lot right now. I mean, I think it's just the nature of, like I said, for most of the Western Conference, other than Oklahoma City, and a lot of people feel they're vulnerable in the finals. I mean, the Clippers might be the team to beat in the West right now. They're playing I think they're playing at the highest level. Kawhi Leonard looks like he's turned the clock back 15 years. They have
Are you picking the Clippers to win the West? Tennessee?
I'm not. I'm saying they're going to be a really tough out. Well, I'm not going to take them against the field. Let's see what the matchups are first.
I'll take Golden State.
Well, we don't know. Let's wait till the matchups come out. If Golden State plays the Clippers, maybe I'll take the Clippers. No, you don't even know if they're going to play each other. I think we already have a bet on a couple things. I don't even know. You don't even know what you're betting on. You don't even, for the guy who hates betting on things he doesn't have any control over, you sure like to talk about betting a lot.
I sure do. I have to say this, at least Common's consistent. He even keeps his phone ringer on while he's on stage at Flop, Sweat, and Tear shows. In fact, one time he even answered it on stage and had a conversation with Deuce, and I did do that.
Somebody else that's funny.
Somebody goes, completely unprofessional. I'm not a professional. When did that ever stop you?
Of course it's been established already.
I'm unpolished, unprepared, unprofessional.
Right.
Uninformed. And you know what? I'm unapologetic about it.
No, you don't apologize for any of it. When we ask you, programming predicament, it ends up being either Gilligan's Island or Rockford Files.
Correct.
That's kind of where we're at. Even
Akshay Bhatia's in some real trouble on 9. He's been looking at the shot for about 40 minutes.
Has he? I have.
He had a little low runner out of the pine straw. Is it going to get up over? No, it's going to be short of the green. It took him that long to decide to hit that shot. That wasn't that hard to do. I could have walked in there and hit that exact same shot in about 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Hit a low punch, which when you play the ball back in your stance.
I must be way behind because I just put it on and
you play the ball when you want to hit a low punch out like that. You play the ball way back in your stance and don't break your wrists. Well, you'll hit it low every day. That's just what he did, and he knocked it up there. I don't understand what all the hemming and hawing and just hit the ball. Yeah. That's half the problem with a lot of these pros. They take too much time.
I agree.
Now, how many times you watch them look over a shot? Now, sometimes it works. Sometimes they'll hit a brilliant shot, but many times they'll look up, win, and then they just hit a bad shot or an okay shot that they could have hit had they just went up there and hit it right.
It's got to be frustrating to their playing partners at times too. And isn't there kind of a shot clock?
Well, there was the controversy. Did you hear about the controversy last tournament? It was a huge one. Minwoo Lee won.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember?
Wasn't it about the pace of play? Or
yeah, he was looking at a ball. It took him a half hour to play the ninth hole for crying out loud.
Man.
Took him 12 minutes from the time he got to his ball till the time he hit it.
It's ridiculous.
It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
McIlroy just knocked one in close, it looked like 10 to be. Where is Max on his round?
There.
Is he on 17?
Oh, no, he's not that far along.
No, isn't he that far along?
He's only on 8. He hasn't even made the
he's on
yet.
8, so he just hit to the par
200
5.
through 8.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you birdied 8.
This is the one.
And he,
for Rory, this is his weekend.
Yeah. You think this is it right here?
I hope so. I hope he completes a Grand Slam.
Really?
Yeah, I'd like to see it happen. I like Rory. Yeah.
I slapped him on the back at the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, well.
Came into the media area, and I went up to him and I said, really enjoyed what you did today, and I hadn't seen a shot, of course. Really enjoyed what I saw. And he just went and looked at me kind of like, and he kind of looked, he was taken aback a little bit, like he pulled back, and then he just went, hey, thanks. That was it.
That's funny.
Rory McIlroy.
Yeah. Well, it's a good weekend for all that. A lot of good sports viewing this week.
There is? Other than the Masters, I don't know what else.
Well, I'm just saying, keeping up with
with the Wild and the Wolves.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
Wild Flames this weekend. That's a big one.
That's big. Doesn't get
Saturday
any bigger
night,
than that.
Right?
You're right. I was wrong. Sorry. I just get I'm so into the golf thing that I just, when
does the regular season end for the Wild? Kenna, is it next Tuesday or
middle of next week? Yeah.
Yeah. Then the playoffs start, what?
Yeah, they play
4 days later or something? 3-4 days later?
They got Calgary, Vancouver, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
And then they play Anaheim. I'm not sure the day they play Anaheim next week.
That's it, though, right?
That's it.
Yeah. Then
3 more to go.
Playoffs start,
if they beat Calgary Saturday, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah. Big if. The way they're going now, right?
I said this earlier.
My God. He's so
and
good.
I'll say it again. I think it's going to be the Stars and the Wild in the Western Conference Finals, and you're on your own after that. Now, they might end up in the same side of the bracket, and then I'll have to pick another team.
That's probably what's going to happen. Yeah.
I'm going to go Stars and
That'd be a great storyline.
It'd be a great storyline. And I can't lose either way, because, see, I'm not like, I don't even know how to use these, what's the word I'm looking for with these Wild fans that hate the Stars because they moved from here. That wasn't the players who.
Norm Green's not
the guy
around anymore.
Right, the guy you should be perturbed at and angry with would be Norm Green. The players didn't have any choice in moving. No, the whole thing. So for me, the Stars are like a second team to me, and most people here hate them because they left. That was the owner. I can't hate him anymore.
They didn't make any improvements to Met Center. They couldn't figure out a way of playing at Target. So there was a lot behind the scenes that was going on that beyond Norm Green. But Norm Green got out of here, too, because he had some personal issues going on.
Yeah, he did. He had some plenty of issues.
Yes, he sure did. That he did. So he got out of Dodge, unfortunately.
Yeah.
For those of you too young to remember.
So tonight it's...
I'm still going to hate the Dallas Stars regardless of what you say.
Really?
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, you're petty. That's fine. That's
Yeah.
the word I was looking for. You're Tom Petty. I'm not petty. I let bygones be bygones. Especially if Norm Green's still on the team, I could maybe see it.
Yeah.
ACDC tonight.
ACDC tonight.
And then what's your weekend look like? Anything special?
Yeah, I got dinner plans. We're seeing Pat Kessler and his beautiful wife Mim on Saturday night for dinner.
All right.
Got plans with some other friends tomorrow night. So, kind of a busy weekend in between watching the Masters and a few other things. Keeping up with the Wolves and the Wild.
How come we never do anything together outside the radio station?
You know my phone number.
Yeah, why you invite us?
This weekend I'm busy.
Oh, look and
I
check
got
your calendar.
socks to sort and paint to wash
I'm
dry.
sure you're going to get you out to go out for dinner.
Boiling hot vat of asphalt. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
Thanks. Tenby, thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
You as well. We'll see you tomorrow at 12. Oh, who's in for a program password?
Carly Zucker and Justin Gard.
Oh, sweet. That'll be tomorrow at 1:30. Little B. Feminine starts the program at 1. Enjoy the rest of your day. Big Ticket JGR next year on The Fan.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.